Hey, this is WhyBeAre with BeamNG.drive, and today we're going to continue looking at the codename Old full-size Delta 88 vehicle, and this is a vehicle I've already made a video for in the past. In that video, I took a look at the first two rows of vehicles and the white and red Delta 88 sedan. I highly suggest you watch that video prior to watching this one, because in that video I covered a lot of the small differences between the vehicles, and in this one it's going to be a little bit more of an overview look at things. For example, if we were looking at the Delta 88 sedan yellow cab, and then we moved on to the custom cruiser yellow cab, I'm not going to be talking about the differences between the sedan and the custom cruiser because I did that last video. So hopefully I'll remember to put a link in the description that links you to that video, and if I forget, hopefully some viewer out there will do it and it'll be in the comments as a different option so you don't have to try to find it on Google or something. Anyhow, the first vehicle we're going to be taking a look at is the Olds full-size custom cruiser Tyler TJ Special, which is a real-life wagon. So what does it mean when it says a real-life wagon? I did a little bit of research and I figured it out. Tyler TJ is one of the guys who helped out with the creation of this mod, and he has a vehicle that looks just like this one in real life. So that's what makes this a real-life wagon, because custom cruisers are real-life wagons in the first place, but this is one based on his specific vehicle. Even though it does have a nice wood grain finish, as far as I can tell, it's pretty much a stock vehicle, but it does have some boxes in the rear, and I like to imagine those are my fine china. And I'm not the smartest person ever was. I don't know how to properly package fine china. You know, there's bubble wrap, packing peanuts, styrofoam, all kinds of things you can do to make sure the fine china doesn't get damaged while you transport it around. Yeah, I've never heard of any of that, and I just do them all in the box all at once, and they just bounce all over the place. I slam on the brakes, and then they get destroyed. And by the time I get to my destination, I have more pieces of fine china than when I started. Significantly more. So the next time I try to do it, I'll say, okay, look, I get my mommy and I tell my mommy, help me pack my fine china, and she packs it all up and it's all packed up right. You know, she showed me the secrets of using bubble wrap mixed with packing peanuts to properly secure the fine china. It's a miracle. Although I packed up the already broken fine china. I don't know really what the point was, but now I at least know how to pack it up when I get fine china that's not ruined. Unless, of course, you know, you do something really dumb, like you think, okay, this stuff is indestructible even if I drive off a cliff. Well, it turns out, no, packing peanuts cannot save you from a cliff. Oh, actually, we might be able to drive out of this thing. Let's see, can we do it? Come on! It has just enough ground clearance to not be drowning right here. That is perfect. We can actually just barely scoot our way out of the water. And once we are free, we'll go ahead and take a look at the vehicle itself real quickly, and then we're going to pop into the next version. I like how one of the parts of the grill right there fell out. That was pretty cool. Anyways, next version we're going to be taking a look at is going to be the next one on the list, which is, it is the Delta 88 Sedan V8 Diesel, which is kind of an unusual engine combination to have a V8 diesel in a sedan. There are a few vehicles in European countries that are like that, but in the US, nowadays, that's virtually unheard of. If you have a V8 diesel engine, it's going to be used in a truck or an SUV or something like that. And then even the ones in Europe, I'm pretty sure all the ones you'll find, they are turbocharged V8 diesel engines. This one doesn't have a turbocharger on it or anything. It's just a naturally aspirated V8 diesel engine. So why in the world would you have that kind of engine setup? Well, back then, the way the emission requirements were going, American car manufacturers really struggled. And I guess one of the possible solutions they came up with was to stuff a V8 diesel engine in the vehicle, because there is a real-life version of a custom 88 that you can go and find that came from the production facility with a diesel V8 engine. And this thing does feel like a diesel engine when you drive it. The car barely revs to about 4,000 RPM. It has a lot more torque than horsepower. It has like 250 foot-pounds of torque, and then it has 120 horsepower. It's like the exact opposite of my car in real life, kind of funnily. My real car has, I think it's like 150 foot-pounds of torque and then 240 horsepower with a red line of 9,000. That to me is a car that's fun to drive. This, on the other hand, is kind of the exact opposite. It's a great car if you just want to have a car for carring. But if you want to have a car for fun, not the kind of car I would have, that's for sure. Now, it does have this kind of unique engine sound, so I'll let you listen to it. I really love the way it sounds at idle right there. That's when you can really tell that this is a diesel engine. When you're actually driving it around, you might not be so sure if this is a diesel engine or not based on just sound alone. But when it's at idle, you're like, oh yeah, that's a diesel engine. Anyhow, flying off the cliff, and we're going to land right into the water, which unfortunately means minimal damage to the vehicle. So yeah, not much to look at. You see the engine kind of peeking through the hood a little bit, but that's just about it. So let's go ahead and bring this thing back up to the road, and then we're going to swap this out for another diesel vehicle. It is virtually the same vehicle, but it is in the custom cruiser body shape instead of the Delta 88 body shape. And let's go ahead and take a closer look at the engine in this thing. So we'll tear the hood right off without damaging too much of the vehicle, and then you can clearly see the engine says 5.7 liter diesel. It also has a dual battery configuration and a Mutant Pac-Man right there if you need a Mutant Pac-Man. Let's go ahead and drive this thing around some. It's pretty much the same as the one I was just driving, but it's a little bit heavier, and it's got some junk in the back you can watch fly all over the place as I accelerate and decelerate. That box is a little bit different than the box we had in the other wagon, though. That box has a plasma TV in it. At least I assume that's what it's supposed to be, because it says Schmidt and Priss Crystal Clear Plasma Technology. Fragile, and the dimensions kind of look like it could be a TV shape. Although it is a little bit fat. Maybe it's just a lot of protection on the TV, because they know they got crazy drivers like me driving these things all over the place, bouncing all over the place, ruining the TVs. Also, I did some research on this engine, and it looked like it wasn't that well received in real life, unfortunately, as interesting as it sounds to have this kind of engine in a car. But real quickly, look at this spot to crash. That was a pretty good crash. And we're still driving. We're going to keep driving this thing until it dies. Anyhow, back to what I've read about this engine. It was based on the 5.7 liter gas engine they had at that time, and they made a new version of it that was supposed to be diesel powered. Unfortunately, it was rushed to market a little bit, and some of the internal parts were not perfectly optimized for a diesel engine. They were still more well suited for a gas engine, so that made it not the greatest of engines in terms of everything. And pretty much everything I've read says it's not that great of an engine. I'm sure a couple of people out there are like, no, this is the best engine ever. You're wrong, WhyBeAre. But I'm just telling you what the general consensus I've read online is, because I don't have any experience with this engine whatsoever. And I don't think it'll take any more hits. That'll probably be, yep, that is the killer hit. Our main engine down. That's some nice wood trim. Anyways, the next vehicles I want to be taking a look at, I feel like changing up the map. So let's go to automation. The next version we're going to be taking a look at is kind of unusual. It is the Delta 88 Sedan Work in Progress Restoration. The description here just says, on the road again soon. And this one's kind of funny because you spawn it up and then you try to drive it. You hit the accelerator, nothing happens. You think, oh, maybe the car stalled out or something, so you hit start. Still, nothing happens. And then next thought, oh, this mod is busted. Then you look at the front of the vehicle and you realize something. Wait a minute, half of the engine is missing. What in the world is going on here? Well, this is supposed to be like you're an average dude and your car breaks down. You park it in your driveway and then you're disassembling it to fix it. It's currently in the disassembled state. So there are really only two things you can do with it at this time. You can push it around with another car, or you can repair it yourself, which is what we're going to be doing. So if you just want a car that can drive, that's it. That's all you care. You just want to be able to drive. That's real easy. You go to the engine, you replace the work in progress engine with any of the available options you have here. There are tons of options. We're going to go with the shouldn't work, but it does, because that sounds like the perfect engine for this to me. And now the vehicle can drive, although not great. In addition to the fact that it looks like the whole front half of the car is missing, basically, it also overheats really fast because it has no cooling of any kind. It's like the coolant's already overheated, even though actually it doesn't even have coolant. That's the thing. So engine torque is reduced because the head gasket is overheated. And before you know it, this thing is going to blow up and melt to bits. Before it does that, though, we're going to add some more parts and fix it up even more because the oil is now overheating as well. So back into the parts menu here. We're going to go ahead and get a little bit better engine. Not going to get anything crazy fancy, but we're going to get the rusty engine reliable version. Just want something reliable. And now we have a car that can drive a little bit more, but it's still going to overheat. So we're going to go ahead and add the radiator onto the vehicle. And now you can drive it perfectly fine. It's ugly, but it shouldn't have any problems with overheating or anything. We can drive the same distance we just drove, and I'm sure it'll stay perfectly cooled. Yep, I mean, because the other engine was already overheating by now, basically. This one, it just looks like it's right in the middle of the temperature gauge, which is right where it should be. Perfect. So we'll come to a stop again. And then we can keep adding parts because there are a few more parts we can add to this thing until it's completely done. So next we're going to go and add the inner fender. Now the inner fender is just this little area right here. It's not the fender itself. It's the piece the fender attaches to. So we already have it on the right side. Now we're going to add it to the left side. And yes, it's backwards because we're looking at it from the wrong angle. So there we go. We now got that set up. Next, we got to go to the body and add the parts there. So we can go ahead and add the left and right fenders to the vehicle. And let's say, you know, something came up and I couldn't get the same fender. All right, both the fenders are on. Next, we can add the hood. And we have a few different hood options. We're going to go with the Demo Derby hood because that's all I could find is a hood with a giant hole in it for some reason. Although it would be cool if I had an engine that sticks out. Maybe let's not do that. Just put the race hood on it. It has a nice shape to it. Doesn't exactly match how terrible the engine is, but it is a nice shape. And then we'll go ahead and keep adding parts. We still need the front bumper, which is actually up here. Got a lot of options here. How about we do the old off-road front bumper? Because that's just all I could find. Let's see. Does it look okay? No, that looks terrible. I don't like that look at all. I want this thing to at least look kind of stock. Like, it doesn't have to look super stock, but a little stock, please. So how about just, what's the custom cruiser front bumper look like on this thing? There we go. That looks much better. Then we got to add the extra bits right there for the lights and stuff. So we're going to go ahead and go to the B body again. And ooh, while we're here, actually, let's add some roof accessories. How about we add, well, I don't know if any of these really fit too well. What does the classic old style light bar look like? Does that look cool? Oh, yeah, I could do that. That's all right. We'll do that. Sure, sure, sure. All right, so now back to, ooh, wait a minute. You can do more things. Look at this. You can change the siren and the colors of the individual lights. That's crazy detailed. Now, I'm good with that, though. That's exactly how I want it to be. I'm not going to really go that detailed into it. Anyways, back to the radiator support. We're going to go ahead and add the front of the vehicle. How about we do the Delta 88 front on this thing? That should look perfectly fine. There we go. And now we have a functional vehicle with a ridiculous light bar on it. Excellent. So that's what you do. You get a car that doesn't work, and you make it work. And you make it look a little bit ridiculous in the process as well, but it works. That's what's important. Let's go ahead and crash this thing and watch the light bar fly off, hopefully. Maybe get a little bit of air time. No, staying pretty level. Come on. Do something. There's some air. And there's a ruined car. Can still drive if I wanted it to, but I think really what we need to do is get a new one. So I'll bring it back, and then we're going to go to the next version we're going to be taking a look at, which is the Delta 88 AR162B racing version. It says race car for good fellows, featuring the Stig, and Stig's all in capitals. This vehicle uses the same skin we saw on the Destruction Derby vehicle last video, and then it has a wing on the back for some downforce, a different rear bumper, and then a front bumper that matches that rear bumper, and it has dual fans on the radiator. So you can tell this engine means business because it has a lot of horsepower, which means it's probably going to generate a lot of heat, so it needs a lot of cooling. Then you also got the Stig in there. Now, when I look at this car, stock version, I just think that's one of those cars that'll never handle that well, and I still feel that way after driving the race version. The race version is definitely a step up from the stock version, but it doesn't handle great to me. Like, it's actually a very easy to drive car. Some race cars, you got to be a race car driver to control. This isn't one of them because it is set up to understeer instead of oversteer. A lot of the time, though, on race cars, you're going to find them more likely to oversteer than understeer, because understeer setups are more commonly used on street cars because it keeps terrible drivers a little bit more safe, and then good drivers, they're able to control a vehicle that oversteers easier, so they're more likely to have those set up to oversteer. But you notice on this thing, like, I am tapping the e-brake on pretty much every single corner, trying to get it to turn in a little bit more and a little bit tighter. And it might just be that I'm like overdoing the steering wheel a little bit, but I'm trying to be gentle on it sometimes too, and it's still just, it doesn't turn in quite as tight as I would expect. It's perfectly fine for a race car, but there are other race cars that I like the handling of a lot better. That's all. So now we gotta find a good place to wreck this thing, as we actually almost did a nice little drift right there. I want to find a spot where I can actually get the speed some and have a good speed on the wreck. I mean, we're going 50 miles per hour in pretty much no time at all because we got a lot of power. But I want a little bit more than that. Like, maybe right here we got a little bit of a straightaway. Come on. It's like 60 miles per hour still. Oh, well, there's a wrecked car. And let's go ahead and take a look at the next vehicle we're going to be driving. This one is going to be the Delta 88 sedan yellow cab. Why is there a cab at a racetrack? I'm not sure. But there's one here, and you just got to deal with it. One neat thing about the cabs, though, is the light on top. It does light up, and it's kind of hard to tell when it's so bright out. To make it easier on you guys, we're going to make it dark. Oh, wait. Oh, you can't make it dark here. Well, we're going to change maps then. I did not know that. All right, what's a map that can go dark? How about industrial site? Before we grab the taxi, let's make sure we can make it dark here. Okay, we are good to go. Now, taxi cab, where are you at? Right there. So you got a sedan version and a wagon version. It's kind of weird. You would think a wagon would be really practical for a taxi, but you never see wagon taxis. Anyhow, you can see right here, the 162 is lit up. Then you can hit T, and then off-duty lights up, and you can click it again, and neither light up. So a taxi drives by, you have no idea if they're going to pick you up or not, because they don't have the lights on. So I'm going to put that light on, and we're going to go ahead and put the rest of the lights on so we can actually see things. And by the lights, I mean we're going to turn on the sun. And now, we'll drive this thing around a little bit. So if we were doing a real taxi job here, you would have a passenger who would be driving on this dirt road, probably not too fast, maybe 20 miles per hour, 25 miles per hour. That's about as fast as you want to do it if you're a really responsible taxi driver. I'm pushing it up to about 30 miles per hour there because it feels pretty smooth. You know, trying to keep the passenger at least somewhat comfortable because I'm a nice taxi driver. Some of the taxi drivers, they drive crazy. I'm trying not to do that, although I am still driving crazy. And then we're on a paved road. We're going to keep it normal. The thing is, we're going to keep accelerating, accelerating, and accelerating. Before they know it, we're going about 50 miles per hour in no wall because I'm done being a taxi driver. Actually, this thing can still drive, so we're not done yet. Bump the back, keep on going. Steer hard enough? All right, good. Hit that wall at about 40 miles per hour. Good hit. Not too much more damage. This thing's holding up pretty strong. Let's get a little bit higher speed impact for the next one. Then we got to go about 60 miles per hour, hopefully. Let's see what we can get this thing up to. Gonna be close to 60. It's gonna be about 55. Oh, that was awkward. It just tore my tire off. Right, how's my steering? I still got some steering. We're okay. Go back in that container once more. We're gonna be about a 40 mile per hour crash ideally. All right, still going. I got zero steering though. Nothing happens when I try to steer, so that's the end of this taxi cab right here. And I'll give you guys one look at the taxi in the light so you can see the kind of design on it. It's got the 555 number. Go ahead and call that, I guess. I don't know what actually happens when you call a 555 number. I just know that they're fake numbers made for movies and stuff. Then you got the fare. Very, very taxi fare. You know, I haven't ridden in a taxi so long, I have no idea what the fares are like nowadays with Uber and stuff. I wonder if it's changed much. Anyways, let's go ahead and pull out the wagon version so you can see that one as well. So get on out here, little wagon. There we are. And this one's kind of cool because it has luggage in the back. So it's like you really are a taxi driver when you got the luggage in the back and stuff. Although you're kind of a bad taxi driver because you forgot to close the door. Whoops, there goes the luggage right out the back. At least some of it. The other parts are getting a little bit of a pain to get out. Come on, get out. I'm not even looking at where I'm driving. I'm just looking at the luggage and trying to make it fall out. That's bad. All right, well, we got two of the luggages out, so that's a success. And then we'll close it back up. See, if half the luggage is there, they won't suspect you of intentionally dumping their luggage as you drove. If all the luggage is gone, they will suspect you. With half of it, though, they'll just probably blame themselves for not putting the luggage in properly and think it's back at the airport or wherever you picked them up at is. And I'm going to wreck this thing from the bottom up. I'm going to just try to like hit things like I did right there. Although I might be slowing it down a little bit. It feels a bit slower than it was before, but look at this perfect spot. You got to take that. And somehow it's still driving. I figured the driveline would get caught on something and break, but we're good to go. Keep it up. We're not moving very fast though. Even slower than before. We're struggling just to get up to like 25 miles per hour. But here's a good spot to hit it. And it's still going. Although it's going so slowly, I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to be trying to do this. Come on. Oh, wow. This thing just wants to be an off-road vehicle. I have absolutely no idea how it just keeps going. I keep hitting it time after time on the underside, which a lot of the time one hit like that will kill a car, and this one just keeps on going. That's some strong American car design right there. All right, here's the last one. Nope, didn't even tip over. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next vehicle we're going to be taking a look at, which is the Delta 88 sedan Utah Fire Chief, which says, "Where's the fire?" This one has some cool lights on it. You hit M once and you got the lights going off, and then if you hit it again, you got a siren, which I'll let you listen to. And I like that you can actually see where the siren is on this light bar. Like, all other cars, you don't know where the sound's coming from. This one, you know the sound is coming from that megaphone right there. Anyways, turn that off. It's getting annoying. Anyways, on the side right here, it says Fire Chief Hurricane. And it's number 5, and it says Fire Rescue right there. And I was looking around in the inside thinking maybe there's some sort of fire extinguisher in here or anything like that. I did not see anything. This is just like a support vehicle, you know. This is the guy who he drives to the place and then he yells at people to do things better or something like that. You also got those lights right there in the front, and I can't remember what key it is to use those. It is G, so you could turn those on and make the front of the car a little bit brighter. You can see on versus off right here, making things just a little bit brighter in this area and a little bit over there even. And then you can also hit toggle tailgate, but that doesn't do anything on this version of the vehicle. You need a wagon for that to work. Let's go ahead and find something to wreck this thing into. And I think this will be the end for this video. We're going to have a part 3 in the future. So until then, this has been WhyBeAre. I'll see ya.